All right, guys. Tell me, I think we might have had the audio problem. Thank you, Trish and Johnny, for letting me know that. And listen, I'm trying to get a moderator. Trish, if you're out there, if you can pop up there, I need to get somebody set in there. And listen, I may have accidentally blocked one of our viewers there. I apologize. If you would send me a message, maybe on Twitter or something, so I'll know who it was, so I can fix that problem. I do apologize. I didn't mean to block the person. I couldn't see what was going on. And so anyway, so I do apologize about that. I didn't mean to do that, because I shouldn't be trying to do that when I'm driving down the road. All right, so if you can hear the video now, at least show me a thumbs up. I can see a thumbs up pop up on the screen. Well, better. Good sound. All right, great. That's great. All right, here we go. Listen, let me kind of bring you up to speed what's going on. And for those of you that could read lips, you probably knew what I said anyway. Israel has been bombing Damascus this evening. They actually had sent in, dropped a bunch of leaflets over Syria before they began their attacks around Damascus. Really letting the Syrian military know, if you continue to allow Hezbollah to operate inside of your country, you're going to die as a result. So they're trying to get Syria to back down and I guess go along with Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Al-Nusra. You know, it kind of reminds me, back when we used to live in Israel, a good friend of mine in the IDF, he was sharing with me how the ISIS militants, the leaders of ISIS, were known to be wearing tzitzit. For those of you who don't know what a tzitzit is, that's the tassels that hang on the four corners of a lot of Jewish guys' garments, especially the Orthodox community. And yeah, ISIS leaders were wearing tzitzit. This was shared with me by a good friend of mine in the IDF. And he was blown away by this. He's like, I don't understand. How can this be? Well, you have to know who created ISIS, right? So anyway, different issue altogether. We'll speak about that some other time. But so Israel, though, has been dropping leaflets over there, warning the Syrians. Well, they say take the Syrians into consideration. I would have to say to Israel, take the Syrians into consideration and stop bombing them. You know, I'm no fan of Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah. I'm no fan of, well, you guys might be able to hear, but I know that, so we'll try to reconnect here. Yeah, we can reconnect it here again. So, at any rate, I probably don't have that great of a signal, but I'm gonna stop here a little bit at the hotel, and I'll probably jump on Israeli News Live, share some information with you there as well. But I wanted to let you know Israel has been dropping bombs not only around Damascus, but also down by Suwaid, which is south of Damascus, closer to the Jordanian border. They are targeting the weapons that are being brought in by Iran. Now, that's true. Iran's bringing in weapons, and these weapons are meant for Israel. So this time around, I have to admit, Israel's got an issue right now, and this is why they're targeting Syria. But it wouldn't have happened had Israel quit trying to take Iran off the map, or wanting to take Iran off the map, threatening Iran, etc., when the only thing the Iranians have been doing is trying to liberate the Syrian people from all these murderous Al-Qaeda, Al-Nusra, ISIS militants that both Israel, the United States, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey are all backing in the first place. The worst of the worst thugs, murderers of Christians, Muslims, Jews. It doesn't matter. They just kill anything that don't agree with their ideology. As I said a long time ago, had we not been funding all these terrorist groups, there would be no war in Syria. But whatever. I already know what's going to happen. And yes, unfortunately, Damascus will pay the price for this. What you guys didn't know that I kept ranting about as well, though, is the situation in Washington tonight. I know there's some people that believe that the president went to Texas. As far as I know, he didn't. I know this morning he was in a meeting with some of his advisors there. I was made aware of that meeting. He was very distraught over the situation that happened in Washington, D.C. And, of course, those people that were there also know that Antifa was the instigator of the storming of the Capitol. And listen, yes, there were Trump supporters also that entered into the Capitol building as well. But as I look at what's going on there, I am really disturbed by the rhetoric coming out of Joe Biden, presidential elect, and he may still end up getting in, especially after what happened yesterday. The situation is very, very bad, and it's put President Trump in a very awkward position. Of course, like I said, we already know Trump. He's still got his own globalist agenda, so it's not going to matter which one you get in there. The globalist agenda is to bring about a new world order, crash the economy, change out, go to a cashless society, and bring communism to the nation. It's going to happen regardless. At any rate, the situation right now, as I watch this unfold, and Biden coming out and saying, you can't call these protesters, these are domestic terrorists. And he said, had it been Black Lives Matter, look at what they did to them. They were using rubber bullets on them when they were protesting, the death of, I forget the guy's name, the guy got choked out by the police. He said they were using rubber bullets on them and all kinds of tear gas and things like that. Well, they were using tear gas on these people here as well. Not just, but what really got me though is when he said they were using rubber bullets on Black Lives Matter. If it had been Black Lives Matter, what would they have done to them if this would have happened? Well, Mr. Biden, they were using real bullets on the alleged Trump supporters. And the one woman that was shot in the throat, what was that for? And yet you and the Democrats and Mitt Romney and some of these other Republicans as well, all crying foul and making it look like some major ordeal, or making it look like the police were great heroes that stood their ground and they did their job, shooting and killing this woman along with like 4 or 5 other people. Like I said, they didn't use rubber bullets, they used real bullets. And a woman that was unarmed, shot in the throat because she started to go through a window. Was that officer's life in peril? Was his life being threatened? Right? Was that the case? No. As a law enforcement officer, you use lethal force when there is lethal force necessary. She was breaking and entering. No weapon. And then the guy shoots her in the neck and kills her. My own doctor was on the phone with me when he saw the video the very first time. He's watching it and he's talking to me on the phone. And he's like, oh my gosh. He said, Steve, he said, do you realize they just murdered that woman? He said, she's not armed. And listen, and then they talk about, if it had been black people this happened to, if they'd have been an uproar. Are you serious? I mean, but yet, because the lady is a white woman, no, there's no uproar about it. Why? And listen, I'm completely against what the police do to black people. I mean, that's appalling as well. So many black people, unarmed, shot and murdered by police. But this police officer there at the Capitol building, see, a girl going to come through there, you could have just easily apprehended her. You had to shoot her? Oh, but she's a domestic terrorist, according to Biden and the rest of these thugs. You know, I am blown away at how much mainstream media has the power to twist the narrative, and then they say, oh, they're all pumped up on a bunch of conspiracy theories about fraud and things like that. Conspiracy theory? Excuse me, there are how many lawsuits that have been filed over this already? That's lawsuits that are being filed that can't even get their day made in court. That's not a conspiracy theory. Okay? That's not conspiracy theory. Now, I know they say Trump bears responsibility. They want to have him arrested and everything else, right? Well, to some degree, yes, he does bear responsibility because he did get the people to come there. But I don't think that Trump, I don't think that his intention was to see these people storm the Capitol building. In fact, I know it wasn't. Trump is already, Biden, it don't make no difference. They're all globalists. All right, we know that. That's a dead given. Trump ain't no better than Biden when it comes to that and what their agenda would be. No different. All right? But I just find this very interesting how they're playing this out. And as I spoke today with a friend of mine there in Washington, he also realized, and he said we know here that Antifa, that they took advantage of the fact of the people coming to Washington, D.C. to create this unrest and storm the Capitol building. But here's the other thing that gets me too. Look at the difference, right? When Black Lives Matter, and again, we have to be fair with Black Lives Matter as well. A lot of the people there peacefully protested. I saw many times where the black community, when they saw, and it was funny, it's Antifa, these little white little thugs, I have to call it like it is because most of the time it's not even black people there. They're in there trying to incite violence among the Black Lives Matter people to get them riled up and burn the city down. Now, not to say the Black Lives Matter ain't burnt down a bunch of cities too. Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. Burnt businesses, burnt everything else, set it all on fire. Oh, that's just protesting, Biden says. That's just protesting. They're not domestic terrorists. No. Only if you're a Trump supporter. Right? And I ain't too crazy about that either because, for one, how can I support President Trump when his whole agenda is warp speed operation? The same thing Biden's got in mind. Make sure the whole nation gets vaccinated. Forget the side effects, right? Probably not supposed to say this on live YouTube, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. He's for those little 7 laws that they keep passing on Menachem Schneer. So, this is just nuts. But anyway, all right. I'm kind of turned around here, guys, so I'm going to have to let you guys go. But I just wanted to kind of share some of that with you. I'll talk to you soon. Good afternoon.